Hello, beautiful community. Last weekend we had a long weekend. It was the Melbourne Cup horse race, and I had 5 days off, which was fantastic. And we had quite a few things that we were doing for the weekend. And the first thing that we did was install a couple of snakes on the local walking track. There's already a few sculptures and artworks along the walking track. And if you've seen a video a while ago, I put in a troll under the bridge. And this time I thought I'd put a couple of snakes up in the tree just to see if anyone would notice them. And so before the weekend started, Isaac come along and helped me, and we put 2 snakes up in a tree. So I carved the heads, and then I attached some wire to the head and then some black garden hose. And I put the wire there just to curl it around the tree branch, and we got them up fairly high just so that no one would knock them down. I'm waiting for Max, who drives the tractor. Most Fridays he goes up there with the tractor and he grooms the track for the park run on the next day on a Saturday morning. And I was waiting for Max to give me a call, because I imagine they're about his height when he's driving through on the tractor, but I didn't hear from him on Friday, so I don't think he groomed the track on Friday. So I'll have to wait for another week. I'm sure he'll. I'm sure I'll get a phone call from him at some stage. So that was one project. The next project was carving a spoon, and I've done a couple of spoons. And I've used an axe just to prepare the wood into a spoon. But this time I thought I'd turn the wood on the lathe and get the good start on the handle, make sure it was perfectly round, and then form the spoon with the lathe. So I picked some American white pine that Liz from just south of Ballarat gave me there about a month ago. I had tried it with a knife and it was quite soft, but it didn't have much of a grain about it. It was fairly bland and white. But I had a plan to fix that. So once I got it off the lathe, I then started to carve the spoon out, and I started off with a good old Stanley knife. So I don't have a certain area that I carve. Most times I do it on the kitchen table in the morning, or outside under the veranda, or in the shed, in the car, outside the car. Sometimes I'm standing up waiting for one of the kids. So basically just wherever I can do it. So this time I started in the shed and started carving, and then I ended up under the veranda finishing it off. So at the end, once I'd done it, I gave it a coat of oil and then put it in the oven for 20 minutes. It's the oven I've got in the shed, not the one in the house. I reckon the cook would kill me if she found out that I was cooking wood in the kitchen oven. So I've been banned for that. I was banned from the kitchen oven a few years ago, and I've never been back since. I've got a little oven in the shed, and I had it at about 180 degrees Celsius for about 20 minutes, and it just brought up the grain. Otherwise it was a fairly white wood, the white pine, and by cooking it, it certainly made the grain pop, and it looked a lot better than what it was. So that was my spoon that I did for the weekend. And then on Sunday, the boys had entered into a marathon. Isaac entered into the 10-kilometre run, and William was in the 42-kilometre marathon. We were up fairly early. We had to be there about 6:30, and it was up at Tabuk Winery, which is just near Nagambie. It's a beautiful setting. I think the winery was selected in 1860. It was one of the early settlements, and it's right along the Goulburn River. So while they were running, I had a bit of time to take a few photos. It was a beautiful day. It wasn't too hot. And of course, the videos of Isaac coming home after 10 Ks and Will coming home after 42 Ks, they did it quite well. They looked fairly refreshed when they finished. They didn't look too bothered, so they did quite well, and that was Sunday's outing. So then I was able to get back into the shed, and I had a bit of paperbark that I got from my parents' farm. I've had that for a few years, but I haven't turned paperbark. I wasn't sure how it would turn out, and so I thought I'd give this one a go. And of course, once I got the bark off, it was quite a nice wood underneath. It looked fairly plain to start with. First piece that I turned into a bauble. Had some fantastic grain to it, and once I'd finished it, part of it started to turn blue. It was like a dark blue, so that must be part of the paperbark wood. I did think it was going to be a plain wood, but it ended up quite a nice colour to it, nice grain, as I said. And then I turned a bell, and of course there was a bit of rot in the bell. I was able to put a bit of CA glue in there and stabilise that a bit. And that also come out with a bit of blue just on the edge of the bell. So I was quite impressed with the paperbark. I'll have to see if there's any more out on the farm. I think there is a tree there near the back gate, so I'll have to have a better look at it next time I'm out there and see if it's still alive or if it needs to be cut down at some stage. So I was quite impressed with that paperbark. It was a nice little project just to pot around and make a bauble and a bell, which will form part of the Christmas presents, I suppose. We're getting that close to it. Anyway, we've got a fair bit done on the weekend. Got to clean out the shed, do a bit of lathe work, a bit of carving, and a bit of touring around the countryside. So it's back to work tomorrow. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this video. I'll see you next time. Cheerio.